What up, you guys? This is Robster18, and this is just my attempt to give you guys the best version of me, things that really help me overcome the reason I'm so damn calm and things seems to like just bounce off of me. There's only one thing I care about, my life mission, my purpose. You know what I mean? Like accomplishing the thing that I'm supposed to do before I die. I was put here for a reason, and I don't think that reason has anything to do with me complaining about another man's personality, me complaining about who doesn't love me, who's not there for me, who's not considerate, who's not ethical, who's a corny Christian, who's a righteous Christian, righteous person. You know what I mean? We get caught up in so many things. You know what I mean? I want you to know every time in your life that you've ever been angry, it comes from one place: expectation. Somebody's behaving in a way that you don't think that they should. Your expectations is being violated by other people. And now maybe you impulsively feel like you need to correct them, or you need to check them on their behavior. You know what I mean? And then, and then sometimes you might get a big middle finger from the person you're correcting, because like they might be like, well, you're not my dad, you're not my mom, I don't have to listen to you, blah blah blah. I see both sides. You know, there's on one side of the coin, some people are like, man, why are people so sensitive? Like, I'm not excited to correct people's behavior. I actually care about their general well-being, their mental health. And you know, I only try to say the things that I know could help somebody's life, you know. But you know what I notice about human beings? It doesn't matter what your intention is, because people judge your presentation. And what's crazy about God is he sees beyond the surface level. He sees on a much deeper level. So no matter how fancy your presentation was, God sees what your intention was behind the presentation. But no matter how pure your intentions are, people only see your presentation, which means some people are like, yo, but I have the best of intentions. I'm just trying to help you. I'm just trying to do this. People don't care if they feel like it's an inconvenience to them. You know what I mean? And people just complain and dwell all day. Dwelling and complaining. Complaining doesn't know how to have gratitude. Gratitude doesn't know how to complain. The only way to stop complaining and dwelling is having gratitude, you know, finding something that you're very thankful to God to be alive for, you know what I mean? Something that excites you. Because the more you focus on people's behavior, how they shouldn't act, the more you're going to be triggered by these things. Now, I want to get into some other things, right? Some tangible stuff, right? Some people hate, you know, prophecy. Some people hate Optura. Some people hate Slooch. Every time you hate somebody, it's because you have a perception of what you think human beings should be, how they should act. You know what I mean? And basically, everyone who meets that standard, you're going to be cool with those people. Anyone who meets your standard of what a human being should be. The moment you meet somebody that doesn't agree with your standard, you are now positioned for rage, anger. You know what I mean? When it comes to anger, let me tell you something, yo. Whoever makes you angry, the man that makes you angry controls your blood pressure. You know, it's your blood pressure. You should be able to control it. And if you don't learn how to manage your emotions, people will manage it for you. People will put you in states and moods that you don't want to be in. And you're going to make it everybody else's fault and not realize that if you feel a certain way, it's because you believe a certain way. If you believe a certain way, it has something to do with the indoctrination and with what other people around you believe. For example, broken people, they get around other broken people and they make it permissible to be broken. Like they all pat each other on the back, lick each other's wounds, and nobody gets healed. They're just constantly like, oh, it's okay, I know exactly what you mean. Man, he said what? I would have been offended too. If that happened to me, I would have reacted this way. You know what I mean? And then nobody changes. You know what I mean? Like, so when people think that it's okay to be a certain way, they have a justification that enables them to continue being that way. We justify emotions that we don't want to feel. Some of you are offended multiple times a day, and you think that's normal, being offended by other people constantly. What you don't understand is the more you're offended, the more life is going to become a drag. And man, I can't wait for I can't wait to get out of here. I can't wait till Jesus comes back. I can't wait till, you know what I mean? Because you only see life for what you despise about it. You only see other people for what you despise in them. That's why, you know, your pride becomes a barrier for your love for other people. You won't even be able to love people that you're disgusted with, because you're only giving yourself permission to see them for face value and where they are currently. You have no idea the people you're disgusted by, what their potential could be, what their life could look like if only they were fully submitted to God. God knows what they could look like. That's why Jesus died on the cross for every single human being, is because he sees past face value. And thank God, you know what I mean? Thank God that God is not so soft and emotional. I can't imagine if God was like, I can't believe these human beings. I wake wake them up in the morning. Before they pray to me, they check their Twitter feed. Before they pray to me, they check Instagram, they check Facebook, they call other people. Like, how come nobody likes me? How come nobody does that? Like, like if God were like that, that would mean that he's alive for himself and it's all about him, and everything has to pass through his permission in order for God himself to not be a mental basket case. Thank God that he has security. You know what I mean? And since we were created in God's image, that's how I know we were created to have security instead of insecurity. You know what I mean? Like, can you imagine God having such a bad day that he's like, you know what, guys, he's talking to other angels like, I don't know if I want to be God anymore. I don't know if I want to, you know what I mean? And everything, like, yo, in order for you to be discouraged, your focus has to be on you. You have to be focusing on you. That's the only way discouragement happens. It's when your focus is on you and how things are happening to you and how it shouldn't be happening that way. Another thing I want to tell you guys, here's the words that are destroying people's lives. Should and shouldn't. People shouldn't be so condescending. People shouldn't tell me that I'm going to hell if I don't change. People shouldn't, right? I've just learned to accept, acceptance is how I deal with a lot of stuff. I accept that people are just going to be people. People are going to do what they prefer to be doing, and no one gives a damn what I think they should be doing. I expect slooch to be slooch. I expect prophecy to be prophecy. I expect Optura to be Optura. People are going to be people. The day that these people that annoy you feel like changing, when they feel like changing, they will. And maybe God has been wooing their heart to change certain things or do certain things, but God could woo somebody's heart all day. If they keep resisting change until they die, they never will change, because God himself can't change the man that doesn't see something wrong with his actions, that believes that he's okay the way he is. He's a good person and he has no reason to change. You know what I mean? Like, some people are just always going to be the same. And the more you focus on other people's personality type and how it shouldn't be that way, the more you suffer, the more you complain, the more you dwell. You know what I mean? This message is for people that want inner peace. Like, it's not for the people that's going to hear this only to have a problem with what's being said. And by the way, if you're a dweller, if you're a complainer, kudos to you. I love you very much. It doesn't matter what you continue doing with your life. Do what you prefer to be doing. If it sounds like I'm talking a bunch of nonsense, then live the life that you've been living. You know what I mean? But I meet people that have anxiety and they're like, yo, I don't want to have anxiety, bro. And I tell them, well, let me show you this video. Let me show you this. Let me read you some scriptures. And I met a girl the other day that was like, yo, she was going through some suicidal thoughts. I was like, you want me to send you a video? I have videos that I know could help you. I'm not saying a video is going to change your life, but if you watch it with an open mind, it could plant seeds in your head that starts the beginning process of life changing and becoming much better. She said, nope, I heard all that positive crap before. It's not going to work for me. You know what I mean? When people start saying that to that man, to that woman, there is no hope for them to change, because whatever potential change could happen, they're resisting it before they even get the chance to even change. Change is liberating. I know people run away from change. Thank God that I changed. You know what I mean? I used to go through depression for like 5-6 years. Why? Because some girl didn't love me, because she didn't return my text, because she didn't consider me. Now I'll wake up in the morning. None of you owe me anything. You don't owe me respect. You don't have to do right by me. You don't have to be loyal. I don't expect Christian people to be Christian. I don't expect nothing from anybody. I owe it up to myself to be the best version of myself and to benefit, hopefully, as many people as I can, hopefully to do God's will through my life. I have zero control over your behavior. What am I going to do? Complain about how you act in a way that's displeasing to me? And then I'm going to make you worse than what you are, because when I see you, I'm going to treat you the way I see you. You know what I mean? Because if you view somebody as garbage, it becomes the way you treat them. You know what I mean? So the only reason I'm able to see people for more than just face value, but what their potential is because I know that's how Jesus sees people. That's how God sees people. And that's all God gives himself permission to see men for. That's the reason he's not violated by men on a constant basis, on a daily basis, because he knows what they could be if only they gave a damn about their potential, right? So I met somebody yesterday. I want to share a story with you guys. The guy was like, yo, a situation happened where Slooch came in the room. Somebody was like, yo, does anyone know the Slooch character? I was like, yeah, I know him. And he was like, oh, I don't really like this guy, blah, 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 this and that. And I was like, yo, sometimes Slooch, he'll stay in a room until somebody says something that he disagrees with, or someone starts praising the Lord. All of a sudden he's like, oh, like if someone's like, oh, God got me this job, or God did me this favor, or God did this, Slooch will be like, yo, but did God really do that, or did you do it? You know what I mean? And the guy I was talking to, he was like, yo, that's whack. Why would somebody wait in a room silently to just rebuttal something? And nothing against Slooch, man. I don't know if he's going to hear this video. If you hear this, dude, I love you. You know what I mean? But this is the things that people make time for when their goals aren't massive, when you don't have huge goals that transcends beyond what you are currently, and you have to stretch beyond what you are and become more to chase your goals. You know what I mean? Like, one of my goals, I want to reach 100 million people before I die. I have no idea how I'm gonna reach that goal. But one thing I know for sure, I don't have time to be offended by your attitude. If you have attitude with me, that has nothing to do with me. You were probably a broken person before I met you. You know what I mean? And it's not specifically the Slooch, anyways. I'm just talking in general right now. But broken people, they were that way before I met them. So if I take their attitude personal, as if their brokenness has anything to do with me, you know what I mean? Like, and since I understand all these things, they need me to be compassionate towards them, not get frustrated. They need me to, like, you know what I mean, have hope in their potential, not just see them at face value. Because if I see them at face value, I throw their destiny out the window, and they'll never get the chance of, they may never get the chance to see who they could have been if I don't have patience with people. The first thing love is patient, and then it's kind. If there's anybody that you find it hard to have kindness towards, because you have zero patience for them. When you have zero patience for people, it's impossible for you to be kind towards people. You know, Massimo, this is the reason it seems to be impossible for you to have kindness towards prophecy, because you have zero patience for, you know, feeling. And I know how you feel, bro. Like, he patronizes you, he's condescending, you're going to hell if you don't change, you need to believe it this way, it's my way or the highway, you know. And maybe when prophecy talks, all of that stuff is not his intention. But like I said, people don't care about what your intention is. They care about how they perceive your message, because how they perceive it, it becomes what it actually is. And they have a perception that isn't even based on reality, but it is their reality for as long as their mind tells them that it is. Do you know that the mind can't tell the difference between something you vividly imagine and something you're actually experiencing? And let me prove to you that that's true. For those of you that's, you know, we've all been offended and we've all offended somebody, right? I want to ask you something. You ever violated somebody in a certain way, right? Maybe 2 times, 3 times, whatever it is. Like, let's just pretend, just for example purposes, that a husband has left a toilet seat up 3 times this year, and the wife says, "Yo, how come you're always leaving the toilet seat up?" You know, maybe the husband, obviously, if he did it 3 times this year, he's not always doing it. It's only 3 times. Do you know why she used the word always? Because it's always happening in her mind. Like, it's so offensive to her that she repeated the action of him leaving the toilet seat up 3,000 times. So even though even though the event only took place 3 different times, he only left the toilet seat up 3 different times. In her mind, it feels like she went through it 3,003 times. And her mind can't tell the difference between something she's vividly imagining and something she's actually experienced. And this is why we use the word always. Why do you always do that to me? And it's like, yo, what do you mean always? I only did this to you once, twice, maybe 3 times. You know what I mean? So for those of you that hate each other, you know what I mean? I don't know who hates who. I don't want to put any words in anybody's mouth. You know what I mean? But, like, you know, Massimo, I know you don't like certain characteristics, right? I need you to know that your hate for people, it's never personal. Here's why. If you met 100 other prophecies, you wouldn't like them either. If they had the same personality traits that you despise in him, you would hate these other people. You know what I mean? Because, like, when I moved, one thing I've always hated was controlling people. You know, that's something that I couldn't stand. I didn't want to be next to. I grew up with it a lot with, you know, with my stepdad, with my brother, right? They was always impulsively giving me advice, and I didn't respect their opinion. That's why I didn't care about what they had to say, because I didn't respect the person it was coming from. But then when I moved in with a roommate who had a very controlling, similar personality to them, it's almost like I saw my stepdad's face on my roommate. I saw my brother's face on my roommate. And even though they have different identities, they're different people, it's all the same crap to me. You know what I mean? Like, because my mind is making them out to all be the same thing and be placed in the same category, in the same bucket, and then be treated the same way with hatred, because I never liked anybody that was controlling. You know what I mean? So yeah, I went on Google the other day. There's like 16 different personality types. People are not really that different. We're more similar than we are different. You know what I mean? Anyways, 16 personality types. Let's say that was evenly split between 7 billion people. That means for every if they were evenly split, right? That means for every one person that you dislike, there's 450 million replicas of that personality type in this world that you would be equally positioned to have a problem with. If you didn't like one person, there's millions of other people you wouldn't like that would fit the characteristics of what you despise. So that's why whenever you don't like a person, it's never personal. It's not between you and that person. You know what I mean? Like Aptura and prophecy, like, you know, like whatever you dislike about each other, If you meet other people that have the same exact qualities, you are going to have a problem with those people as well. The reason I don't have problems with men is because I'm not alive to set a standard on your life and tell you that you have to abide. First of all, there's nothing that I believe that you absolutely have to do. You have free will and I respect it. You know what I mean? Like, I want to, those of you that are insecure and you feel like, why are people hovering over me? Why are people giving me advice? If you have to stop your day to remind somebody else that you have free will, you're the one that forgot that you have free will. You're the one that's forgotten that you've got free will, not them. You know what I mean? Like if you have to, if you're really confident in knowing you have free will, then when people tell you advice that you don't care about, just go the other direction. Do what you want to do and do whatever it is you prefer to be doing. If someone's talking about your nonsense, you're under no obligation to listen to them. You know, when it comes to obligation, right? People say people should praise God. People should follow the gospel. People should do this. They should go to church. You know what I mean? When it comes to being obligated, like there is no choice. All of you have to die one day. You know what I mean? You have to deal with death, and then, you know, on the other side, meet God in person, right? And then, you know, and then yeah, and then wherever you end up, it gets determined at that point. But I struggle to find things that humans are obligated to do. You know what I mean? This is why I don't hold criteria on people, because you being kind to me is optional. You loving me is optional. You returning a text message, it's optional. You know what I mean? You being a reasonable person, optional. You know what I mean? And then sometimes all of that stuff is optional. Like it's within your free will to do those things if you want to, but you definitely don't have to. You have to die. Yeah, you have to do that. But besides that, you know, like I said, I struggle to find things people are obligated to do. Like actually, for those of you hearing this, tell me if there's anything you think that people absolutely have to do. I think, because the only thing I could think of is people have to die. They have to be judged by God. Besides that, I don't know any other obligations. You might say men need to raise their kids. I mean, men need to be good fathers, but what about the people that are not good fathers? You know what I mean? Obviously, they have free will to not be a good father, because if men had to be good fathers to their kids, there wouldn't be one father on this planet that's not a good father to their kid if it was an obligation. You know what I mean? Like there would be no choice to not go the other direction. You know what I mean? So I never put a standard on people to, like, it's like, yo, do what you prefer to be doing. And that doesn't mean I'm enabling people to be messed up. Like, of course I want people to reach their potential. Of course, you know, it would be cool if they reached that. But so many people don't give a damn about their potential. But I feel like it's my duty to love people no matter where they are mentally. You know, no matter how corny their life decisions are. Matter of fact, I don't even have time to like weigh out the pros and cons of your decision. You know what I mean? Like it is your life. You know what I mean? You decide what you want to decide for you. But one thing I know for sure, if you're tired of feeling certain emotions, such as getting offended constantly, your offense comes from having expectations on how you think other people should or shouldn't behave. If you look at the most miserable people in this world, there's two words that they're obsessed with: should and shouldn't. And I've stopped using those words. I used to overly use those words. Can you imagine me complaining about another person for 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day? You guys can't even imagine that. But that used to be me less than 2 years ago, complaining about my roommate, how much I don't like him, how annoying he is, how he needs to change. You know what I mean? And the more I focused on what qualities he had that I thought he should fix, the more I was being affected by the way he chooses to live. You know what I mean? Instead of realizing me getting offended at my roommate, what does this have to do with my life purpose? What does this have to do with my mission? What does it have to do with me loving people? Because the more offended I get by him, the more reasons I have not to be loving or not to be kind, or the more reasons I have to go tit for tat. And well, if you give me this, I'll give you that in return. You know what I mean? And justify an eye for an eye. You know what I mean? Like, and then we use human logic to rationalize why it's okay to be mean to people. Well, they're being mean to us. You don't like it, I'll do it right back to you. Oh, you don't like how it feels, you shouldn't do it to me, right? And then that game never ends. You know what I mean? Because it's just back and forth all the time. A lot of you are responding to comments that you believe are stupid. But let me ask you, how smart are you if you respond to stupid stuff? How does that make you smart? You know what I mean? How is it a good use of your time to get offended and so bothered by how somebody acts? You know, people act the way they want to act. They have a mindset that makes their actions permissible. For all of you wondering, what the hell makes a person act the way they do? I don't know. Like right now, there's someone in the world, right, who tortures animals slowly. And the more the animal screams, the more excitement they get out of that. That's sick. That's twisted. It's something I could never be able to relate to. I wouldn't never want to do that to an animal. Why does that make sense to the psychopathic person that would do that? Because they have a mindset that makes their actions permissible and justifiable. And they rationalize it in their own head. You know what I mean? So it's like the people that don't believe in God, they don't even understand that their rationale, everything that's logical, when you don't have a God that you answer to, you make up your own rules of what you think is rational, what you think is righteous, what you think is right. And when everybody has their own rules, there is no order. You know what I mean? Because everybody becomes a God unto themselves, and becoming a God unto yourself means you create your own rule book, and you need no man to create a rule book over you, because you're going to decide for yourself what you're going to do. You know, like free will is a thing, you know what I'm saying? But not without consequence. I've heard somebody say before, yo, how do we have free will if we, like, you know, if we don't do the things that are pleasing to God, we get sent to hell? It sounds like we don't have free will. That sounds like not free will to me, you know. But I think the type of free will people are looking for is the free will that comes without consequence. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, I'm gonna wrap up this message. It's been long enough as it is. And I just want to tell you, it's not a good use of your time to complain about other people all damn day long. You know, but if that's what you prefer to be doing, don't even listen to me. Continue being bitter, continue complaining, continue whining, you know, and continue wasting your time dwelling about people that probably won't change. They're probably going to continue being what they are. You know what I mean? And it's just wasting your time. And then this is time that you could spend executing on your dream, on your purpose, on figuring out why the hell you're alive. A lot of you guys don't even know why you're here. You know what I'm saying? So many people are spending all their time in escapism, playing Fortnite all day. And I understand that people need a form of escapism. Some people turn to drugs, alcohol, sex, whatever it is that they use to deal with the harsh realities of life. You know what I mean? But when you spend your whole life escaping, you're not living. You know what I mean? So I hope that really hits you hard, man, because life is short. For some people, it's extremely short. You know what I mean? One of my best friends died at 24. He died on a Friday. I'm sure he had a Saturday planned out. You know, he had a whole life ahead of him planned out. And you never know when your time is coming, you know? And so I just don't want you guys to waste all of your time and be so consumed by how somebody else behaves that you don't agree with. Because the more you get consumed by their current behavior, the more you see reasons not to love them at all. And you think they don't deserve your love, you won't give them love, because as you see them, so shall you treat them. If you don't love your neighbor as yourself, you're gonna hate your neighbor as you hate yourself. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. And don't let people anger you, man. Like, if I anger you, if any of you listen to this and you get mad right now, if you're getting mad listening to this, I'm in full control of your blood pressure. And I don't want that to be your reality anymore, because I really care about all of you. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to control your blood pressure. You control it. You know what I'm saying? Don't let me get to you, right? And when people give you advice, like I said, you don't have to listen to any of it. You know, the reason you're getting violated by people that always give advice, you think that they don't have the right to give advice or say what they want to say or have an opinion. This is why you get mad when people have an opinion, because you don't think they have the right. And I believe everybody has the right to do whatever the hell they want to do, whatever they prefer to be doing, you know? Last note that I'm gonna end on, because I feel like this might be something that's useful. I used to get mad when I play Street Fighter, when I play against somebody who picks Ryu and they throw 1,000 fireballs at me. I'm like, yo, why are people throwing, you know, they're spamming. Why are they spamming to death? Or why, you know, Call of Duty, why are people camping? You know, then I realized, yo, the audacity that I must have to spend $65. If I spend $65 on a game, and you spend $65 on a game, who am I to say that you don't have the right to play that game the way that you want to when you spent money on that game? You have every right to spam people to death. Now, I don't have to like your playstyle. If I don't want to deal with it, I definitely don't have to. I could just go on to another lobby. But me complaining about spammers doesn't stop them from spamming. You complaining about slooches doesn't stop them from slooching. You complaining about prophesize doesn't stop them from prophesying, you know? You complaining about Upturas doesn't stop them from being Uptura. You complaining about Warrior for God doesn't stop them from, you see what I mean? And it's just, how is that a good use of your time? So I'm here to ask you that and have really challenging conversations with you that you're probably not having with yourself. You know what I mean? And yeah, mental health matters, man. You know, inner peace will happen when you learn acceptance. You know what I mean? Because when you accept that some people are just going to be what they are, like some people, you might, liars, right? You'd be like, well, why do liars lie? Like, how naive can you be? What do you expect a liar to do? I expect liars to lie. You know, I expect dishonest people to be dishonest. I expect mischievous people to be mischievous, foolish people to be foolish. You know, the thing is, we frustrate ourselves because we meet people, we see what they are, and then we expect them to be other than what they are, you know, and we live inside of what should or shouldn't be happening instead of learning how to be adaptable and living inside of what is happening. Because the people you're complaining about don't give a damn about your complaints and how much you don't like their attitude and how much you wish they would change. They don't care about your feelings. They don't care about your emotions. You know what I mean? And also they're not obligated to. You know what I mean? I realized I used to spend so much time dwelling, wishing people cared about my emotions, my feelings. Then I realized, why do I need that? Do I need it because I'm telling myself I need it, or do I need it because I actually need it? Because there's so much things that we tell ourselves we need that we don't actually need, such as emotional support. A lot of people have dreams and they're like, my own father doesn't believe in me. My own family doesn't believe in me. Why? How come strangers on PlayStation support me way more than my mother? I don't know. You know what I mean? But dwelling on that is not a good use of your time, and dwelling on, you might never get an answer to that question. But I'm here to ask you, why does that question what does that have to do with your purpose? You know what I mean? Last note I want to end on, very last note. One of my favorite quotes is, there's a reason why your windshield is significantly bigger than your rear view mirror. People spend their whole time driving through life looking in their rear view mirror, wondering why they're crashing all the time. You know what I mean? The reason your windshield is significantly bigger than your rear view mirrors is because where you're going matters so much more than where you've been. You know what I mean? I understand some of you have been bullied, maybe raped, maybe abused, maybe nobody was there for you. Your mother died, or your dad abused you, or whatever the hell happened to your life. You know what I mean? But the more that you complain about it, the more you make it seem like life owes you, or people owe you, or God owes you, and someone has to make up for the loss. You know what I mean? When somebody's waiting for a breakthrough to happen, and the biggest breakthrough has already come. And it's called Jesus' son dying on the cross, man. It's the only breakthrough I need. And I already got that. Now that I have that, it doesn't matter that my dad died when I was 7 months years old. It doesn't matter that my brother abused me verbally. If my brother knew who he was and who he was meant to be, he wouldn't be abusive. If he was connected to the source, if he knew God, he wouldn't act ungodly. You know what I mean? We put so many standards and criterias on how other people should act, not understanding that they're being molded by the injustice of this world. And that's why they behave in the manner that they do. It's because they're a product of what they've been through, instead of being a product of what God is. You know what I mean? So I pray to God this is helpful. If I pissed anybody off with any examples or anything that I said, that's not intentional. My only intention is, I really want people's mental health to be secure and locked into one thing that matters. Because Paul says there's only one thing I do to keep going, is I look ahead, look towards the future. Keep your mind on things above. In Colossians, it says, keep your mind on heavenly things. Earthly things don't matter. These things are going to fade. You know what I mean? We're so obsessed with how somebody else has a personality disorder and they need to change. But the only reason you believe that is because if people change, they would not be an inconvenience towards you anymore. And you don't know and you think in order for life to get easier, people need to be less difficult. No, when you get stronger, it won't matter how difficult people are. When I left my roommate's house, right, I hated living with my roommate. You know what I said to God? God, give me somebody worse to deal with, So when you meet unpleasant people, it's better to meet more of those people. I think you need to meet 45 more of those people so that you can know how to deal with them, because avoiding them doesn't help you deal with them. It just means if you have a certain personality type that you hate, for those of you that hate Prophecy, or whoever you hate, Slooch, let's say Slooch, right? If you hate Slooch, anybody you meet that's like Slooch, you're positioned to have a heart attack about their personality type, and complain and be bitter all day. You know what I mean? And then life tosses you 257 slooches, and you're like, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? Why am I always upset? Why am I frustrated? You're positioned for it because you have an expectation on how men should behave. And because of your expectation being failed constantly, you'll never be able to love people that act like Slooch. You know what I mean? Because you spend all your time being disgusted by them, instead of understanding that God loves the people that you're complaining about. You know what I mean? And if you love them, that's the only way to overcome annoying people, is to love the people that annoy the hell out of you, man. They won't be annoying no more when you love them, But when you hate them and you could only spot out the differences, and you train your mind to only see the things that annoy you, then your days won't be so pleasant. I can promise you that. And life will be hell. And then tomorrow will be yesterday, forever, indefinitely, until you die. And life will be miserable because you focus on what shouldn't and what should be happening, instead of realizing that you have a purpose to fulfill before you die. And while you focus on Netflix and Fortnite and, God knows whatever you do that you spend your time on, time is passing and passing and passing. On a side note, I've masturbated at least 10,000 times in my life, 28 years old. That's a lot of time wasted. That's a lot more people I could have reached, a lot more podcasts I could have did, a lot more help I could have given, and I spent that time entertaining myself. You know what I mean? One of my biggest fear is being entertained all the way to my grave. A lot of people get on me because they're like, bro, you're on a PS Vita. How come you don't have a PlayStation? I don't have a PlayStation because it's not important, man. People act like having a PlayStation is detrimental to my salvation. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need it. That's why I don't have it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's cool to have. Nothing against PlayStation. Games are awesome. Escapism is awesome. But when you spend your whole life escaping, you're not living. You're not actually living. So, love you guys very much. I hope this was helpful. Merry Christmas and take care, man.